And welcome to the latest and greatest from Step Brother Sports, part of the Hockey Podcast Network and the Bills Mafia Buffalo fan base platform. We're on episode 91. Make sure you subscribe to us on our socials, on all those platforms out there. For me, at CFMAZ, for Shawnee V at SV The Don NHL, or find us on YouTube at Step Brother Sports. Don't forget to like our videos. Give them same with the pods, of course. Give them a rating, give a 5-star review, and all those other things you can do to help us with engagement. So, folks, Buffalo Bills training camp is in full swing. Only a few days remain for the Bills while they're at St. John Fisher. And the return of the Blue and Red scrimmage at the new Highmark Stadium will be taking place this weekend. So, huge unveiling for the team coming up. Preseason games also right around the corner. If you're somebody that's really jonesing for it, the Hall of Fame game also tomorrow night as well. Buffalo Sabres and the NHL continue to remain in cottage season. So all quiet on that front still for the NHL. You see Tage Thompson and Zach Benson making a few podcast appearances here and there. But with that, though, tonight's guest is someone we're very excited to have on. It's not often you could bring on a filmmaker and author, especially one based out of the Western New York area. Our guest is an award winner for his outstanding work on his film Mother's Day, bringing to light the challenges and also living life with mental illness in one's family. So please do go check it out. It is free on YouTube. It is outstanding. I made sure to check it out prior to watching in preparation for our show tonight, of course. But still, he's also the author of 2 books near and dear to Buffalo fans, that being Mafia, Buffalo versus the Multiverse, and the Mafia in the Multiverse. So please welcome from the Pan American Film Division, Mr. Travis Carlson.
Wow, thanks for having me, guys.
Welcome.
Very pleased to be on the Step Brothers podcast finally.
Yeah, well, again, we're so glad to have you on, Travis. And it's not often we get like an authentic filmmaker here, somebody who's got some skin in the game. Not to mention also, like on your resume, you have worked for the Bills in the past for a number of years, and also cut your teeth doing things for the team. So again, we really appreciate your time on this. But ultimately, we're getting to towards the end of the summer here now that we're in August. But how are things going? What's been new and exciting for you these days, especially after we met at MafiaCon?
Yeah, MafiaCon was fantastic. Dell and 26 Shirts always do a great job. And it's been full speed ahead for us doing the next project. So we've got another book that we're working on, which I'm sure we'll talk about at some point. And so that's been it. You know, every day of the week, 8 hours or more per day, sitting at a computer, feeling pretty hot. It's we don't have AC at our house, so we just
Oof, you're a brave one.
Find a way. A lot of the outdoor
What
office
could be better? For the love of the game, you're doing that for the love of the game. Then
yeah, exactly. It does feel like an athletic event when you're just sitting at a desk when it's this hot. So,
hey, burning some calories while you're just toiling away at work too. What better way to be also active in more ways than one, right?
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, but that's wonderful. We're again looking forward to talking more about your future projects as we get into the nitty gritty stuff of what we have today. But with anyone, Travis, that we have on the show for the first time, we always really enjoy getting into their sports origins or just their origins in general. But so kind of take us down the rabbit hole for you of what were some of your absolute favorite sports memories growing up, obviously because we're a sports-centric podcast too, of course, but they could be Buffalo related or anything else, as we were just talking about. You're not originally from Buffalo, so that might tie into a few things there. And furthermore, tell us about how you got into your career as a filmmaker.
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. I'll try not to talk too much about the boring stuff, but I coincidentally was born in Minnesota. So for the first phase of my life, grew up as a Vikings fan and really loved Minnesota sports.
Kindred spirits.
Oh, I didn't know. Are you also from Minnesota?
No, I'm just saying Buffalo and Minnesota just because of just the Super Bowl losses. So.
Oh yes, absolutely. Yeah. It's my dad's ultimate dream in life is for the Vikings to play the Bills in the Super Bowl, and one of them breaks their streak. So
there you go.
Heck yeah.
Yeah. So I really did get was raised in Western New York. I grew up on a farm in Chautauqua County, and went to Buff State for film, and shortly after that was lucky enough to get hired by what was called Pagula Sports and Entertainment, and so that was like a parent company that consolidated all of the media for, of course, the Bills and the Sabres, but also the Bandits and Harbor Center and some of the restaurants and hotels that they owned. So we didn't do any of the broadcast, so don't think of it as like the TV stuff, but everything you saw in the games and any of those stadiums, any of the marketing or the behind the scenes docs, TV shows, and all of that stuff is what me and my friends had the pleasure of working on. And I was doing that from 2015 until 2021 in COVID. I was switched. Yeah.
Very cool.
Wow.
I wanted to, Chris, if I could just, go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
No, I was going to just say, we used to have a segment, Travis, and I want to bring it back because we stopped doing it for a while because as of late, we've had kind of a steady stream of repeat guests. So you've been blessed, obviously, to have you as a first-time guest. So we always like to do what I like to call like a degrees of separation kind of a segment, just to, obviously when you're not necessarily you were born in Western New York, but you obviously spent a lot of time. So just as you're kind of talking, I was jotting down some notes. So fellow Buff State grad, go Bengals. So we got that in common. Also, as you were talking about what you were doing with Pagula Sports Entertainment, I was actually thinking of two things. For one, we're actually now pretty good friends with Michelle Girardi, who does all the Sabres and Bills Embedded stuff. She's been on the show, phenomenal talent. So I can kind of imagine what you're doing, what you were doing back then. And then also we had
one of my closest coworkers at PSC. Yeah, really? we worked. We had many trips together. She was producing and I was filming many things. She's great, fantastic. Yeah,
nice. Yeah, we love her. Love Michelle. We
concur.
We got to schedule her again. She's been one of our favorite guests. Also, too, we've had similar to like talking about when you're doing the different like multimedia, not necessarily like the broadcast specifically, but another guest we've had on our show and a good buddy of mine, Joey Catalano. He actually does work on. He used to do work on the broadcast of the Dallas Stars. Now he's on with the Texas Rangers. So he moved from hockey to MLB. But like I have those types of conversations with him all the time about like creative stuff, because like all the little like in-game presentation, little gimmicks and whatnot, that's what he's doing on a lot of their broadcasts. And then last but not least, a little tidbit I have for you. I know now that you're Mr. Big filmmaker, a long time ago, and talking about like Buffalo, you probably would have been in town at this point, or maybe like just after or before. I'm trying to remember when it was. But I had a pretty large role in bringing the Purge movie that was shot in Buffalo. I had a pretty big role in having Universal Pictures, where they basically created their soundstage in the old post office plant on William Street. I kind of helped broker that deal. So I got kind of an up close and personal look at like the film industry, which was, dude, one in a million to be that close. And I got to be a PA while they were shooting and different things. So all really cool stuff that you're involved in. We're definitely jealous and happy to have you on.
Fantastic.
Yeah, man.
Sean has worn many hats in the past. I totally forgot about that Purge movie.
Yeah.
That's a good one. It's actually I actually never watched it, and it was on TV recently on like FX or something. And I actually sat down and watched it, and I was like, yo, I mean, at certain points you know that it was in Buffalo because you know like the waterfront apartment buildings that are down there. They filmed a lot of the scenes like there. But yeah, they shot a lot of that movie in a soundstage, a makeshift soundstage that was nowhere near at the level it needed to be, like from a professional standpoint. But to their credit, they invested the money to get what they needed for those couple months they shot that movie here. So to see where it started and what it became and see it on the screen is pretty crazy. Yeah. So a lot of props and respect to those people that do that for a living, you know?
Of course. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Really appreciate you kind of talking about your origins there, Travis. So now we kind of want to talk about the biggest piece of what really connected us here is your big book, Mafia of Buffalo versus the Multiverse. So I kind of find it as just like a very uniquely Buffalo experience. And at the same time, like something that all those who are like comic book viewers, sci-fi lovers, anybody can really enjoy at the same time, with just like that right amount of like just sports knowledge just sprinkled in there. Well, but beyond just sprinkled, like just fully like drinking out of a fire hose in there, I suppose.
Yeah.
But it's great to hear that you've already sold thousands of copies of it. But kind of go into the details of how you came up with the idea to create something just so, well, obviously awesome and really just one of a kind for Bills fans to enjoy. And we also want to make sure we give an opportunity to show some footage of the audiobook on here. We have that queued up and ready for when we could show that off as well.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so for, I mean, they're both the same project, but one is just easier to listen to. The origins of that story, we had done, as you mentioned, Chris, we did like a very serious mental health feature film that was great and important, and I'm really proud of it, and I'm proud of how people were impacted by it. And if anyone is interested in that subject, it is free on YouTube. Just search Mother's Day or Pan Am Films, and you can watch it anytime. But following that, we had a lot of people come up to us and say, like, okay, so what's the next like mental health project you're going to do? Like, we love that you're telling these honest, raw stories. And I was like, well, that's one story I love doing, but the things I'm interested are obviously a much bigger range than just that. And so I wanted to really make the next thing that I poured years of my life into to be very much on the opposite side of the spectrum, so that I could sort of show that there's the ultimate Travis is somewhere in between, the very harsh, raw emotion stuff and something very fun and colorful and full of adventure, and had a bunch of appeal. And with everything I like to do, the core spine of it is always like to celebrate where we live, to celebrate Buffalo and Western New York and what makes our culture unique. And I do that because like it means a lot to me. And maybe you guys experienced this too when you were in the area, but Buffalo's gone through such a transition of a lot of negativity and a lot of people who want to just get away from the city. And I was really like kind of frustrated by that attitude growing up and being a young person here, and feeling like, it's just, I feel like the people who speak that way, like didn't have the knowledge or couldn't see with fresh eyes, like what a blessing it is to, have the things we have. Some of the things that make our city great are the things that they might not love. Like we have, extremely affordable quality of life. We have very little traffic. We have, but still have access to like world-class, art museums and theater shows and sports teams and stuff. I feel like it's in almost a life hack to live in Buffalo. And then, warts and all, I think there's just so much personality in our culture, especially our sports culture. And so you kind of have that soup and you're trying to do something adventurous. And I was just like, what about something with the Bills, and Bills Mafia specifically is the terminology I was thinking of. Like, what if it was different rival, like kind of like mafia gangs, like gangsters. That was the seed. And I kept pushing and pushing. And it was like, the more it gets into like the multiverse and the more it gets into, I guess fantasy and big genres, not just fantasy, but like Western and science fiction and, comedy, it all starts to feel better and better. And it was really cool to put the skin of movies that we love and video games that we love on top of the drama of a sports season. Our villains are all the opponents that we play. And my rules were basically like, whatever happens in the real world, real games or wins or losses or injuries, like it has to happen that way in this story. It's just going to be much more of a heightened, entertaining experience. So that was the experiment, and I spent about 18 months working on it full time. Did all the writing and did AI art to bring it to life. And basically once that all was put together, it was able to find an audience, and yeah, we did pretty well. We sold 7,000 copies so far and got incredible feedback. And it makes me very grateful that hopefully some people did connect with that message of like feeling like our city is reflected in a way that makes them feel proud and special.
No, I really am glad you kind of talked about just the points of pride about what it means to be from Buffalo. I mean, Sean and I have been out of the area for at least this is year 15 going on for me because I live in Richmond, Virginia, as many people know. Sean has been either in Florida, now he's been in Atlanta. He's been all over. But still, I mean, just hearing you say that and describe the way like being from Buffalo just has such bigger meaning beyond just like what the sports component of it can be. It's really just a point of pride, and so many of us wear it on our sleeves, and it's like, no, people don't really understand what it's like growing up in the area. And for you to just continue to like kind of not, maybe you could use the phrase disrespect in a sense, but like not know, like you were saying, like the quality of life and just, again, the amount of love and just connection people have to each other, or just complete strangers would just, whether it's just shoveling snow or just doing just acts of kindness in general. Like, no, I think you really hit the nail on the head with that. And I thought that could not have been much a more poignant take on that. So I really appreciate you speaking on it the way you have, just because, again, like that's near and dear to us. That's our heart and soul for sure. Beyond just what the sports do for us.
Yeah. Even if we're not around, and like we still visit, and just recently our parents they sold the house that we grew up in, like in the last couple months. And like I know, and Chris tends to be a little bit more of an emotional guy than me at certain points, but like stuff like that. It's from a sentimental perspective. Not that I'm not, but I've spent a lot more time in Buffalo since we both moved away. So I've kind of had time to like, not say bye, but to see different people that I haven't seen and like visit and spend a lot more time there. But yeah, like I know it was tough for Chris. Like when we were leaving the house for the last time, and he's taking the goodbye
especially
picture,
especially like the first time, like hearing like, oh, they're doing this move. I mean, it wasn't easy to hear, but at the same time, like that part is like we were saying, it's always going to be part of us too.
So you can't take the Buffalo out of the guy. It's who we are.
I was just gonna say the same thing. Like it's it's so clear, especially after people started to reach out about the book. Like it's so clear that Buffalo culture that I'm talking about is not limited to the 300,000 people who live in the city limits. It's a way of life. Being a Buffalonian, and so you can do that in Richmond or wherever you go. Or and I like that, and it's fun to give it kind of the props it deserves, and just in the same way that other major identity cities, or cultures can have that too. But when the national media is always focused on New York City and LA, it's just fun to give us something that's just ours. So that's been cool.
Yeah.
Love that. And we want to like you mentioned, we want to shed more light on it. So we have a bunch of questions prepared for you, but I think Chris Maz, were you going to show the clip?
Yeah, let's pull that up real quick, just because the biggest thing is you're about to incorporate, Travis, just for the viewers on here, is the audiobook version. And this will kind of give like a preview, kind of just where you kind of were talking about to cue it up, where people can really like hear like a glimpse of what the actual audiobook is going to sound like. So, and I watched it a few times now. I thought it was excellent, and just how it was made, the production quality, and everything behind the scenes with it too. So let me go ahead and pull that up for us to see. Let's go ahead and do that. And I'll hit play right here for all of us to see. So again, Mafia, Buffalo versus the Multiverse right here, the audiobook preview. So check it out.
Of all people, Joshua Valentine locked the firearm onto a broken shoulder.
It's Bowie Knox.
Hollywood digs, baby.
Brigadier General McDermott.
Snowman, the showman. Pancho Billa.
Fire.
Go Bills.
0 minute class. I come from the future.
What's your name, missionary?
Henri. I'm a king.
Prince Joseph of Highborough. But boy, we are not equal. How can two engage in champion warfare when only one is champion, man? Hi, I'm Mr. Righteous. Am I speaking with the decision maker of the household? the borderlands. We're Buffalo country.
Fasten your seatbelts, Mafia folk. This is 30 layers of sound design, music, and performance. You will ride with Josh in the fearsome Buffalo Bill Wild West show. From the Great Drought to the historic blizzards to the jungles, super cities, and battles of the multiverse. It's all waiting for you in your favorite pair of headphones to dive in and never look back. I'll see you in the multiverse.
Mafia. Buffalo versus the multiverse.
So good.
So again, that was so cool. So again, job well done on that, Travis. Again, I want to make sure you get the shine on there as well, because even just hearing like Patrick Mahomes is like Kermit the Frog like voice on there. That was a nice little chef's kiss touch right there.
Yeah, I never knew I'd have to figure one of those out. That's the hardest voice I think I had to do for the whole 12-hour podcast or audiobook.
Yeah, but either way, now is the audiobook version of that out now? Like, can people purchase it like right away, or is it?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, actually, don't even bother purchasing it. It's in a phase now where it is being rolled out for free. So
there you go.
It's about halfway through, but you can jump in obviously at any time. It's on YouTube or anywhere you get your podcasts. So just search the title of the book, as we've said, Mafia Buffalo versus the Multiverse, or through our website. But yeah, you can listen to almost all of it already. We're just counting down the weeks till kickoff and releasing one every week prior to that. So we're getting close, as we are getting closer to the season. So it's all there for you. It's free. No commitments or anything. Just jump in. And I did it because the book is out there, and I think a lot of people just enjoy it as like a gift or looking at the pictures, and I'm totally cool with that. But I wanted to make it easier and less friction for people if they do prefer to listen, or just want to really see what that story's all about. It's there for you. Sometimes you want a little entertainment with your sports flavor, so absolutely, that's an option.
Yeah, well, hey, many different mediums to enjoy it on, folks. So again, Buffalo versus the Multiverse. So we want to talk obviously a little bit more about that too, just because there's just an immense amount of content. Sean, you fire away. I know you had some good.
Yeah, I mean, Chris and I, we had some. We want to talk some Bills with you too, actual like on the field. But I mean, we can't have you on here and not talk about the Multiverse. So, as every Bills fans, they're watching these regular season games for multiple months and then into the playoffs. God willing, we're there again this year. But somehow you looked at the football season and saw an entire cinematic universe. Obviously, with your background and what you've been doing as a career. But if there is one, what was the exact moment where you might have said, like, this just isn't a book anymore, this is a multiverse? Question one. And then question two, one thing that stood out to me is that, it just isn't fan fiction, but you build actual like lore, like you have the different places besides like the Bill stuff, but what's involved with the Great Drought and Arrowhead Rock and some of these different civilizations build around like the Bills' history, both past and present. So how much planning went into creating those different worlds before you ever even wrote like the first chapter?
Yeah, it's a really interesting process question, because one thing that's kind of insane is like when I started writing this, I was releasing them in real time with the season. So the game would happen, 3 days would go by, it's a Sunday game, and usually by Tuesday or Wednesday, I would try to have the episode written like as a post. And that was extremely difficult to keep up with, because it's
I know how long it takes me to edit this episode. Audio. It takes me a day and a half.
So that was incredible, and you don't know until you try.
Right.
But so to answer your question though, I was just like writing in real time, and I didn't have a ton of time to pre-plan. So just like the reader, when you're basically wherever you are in the book or the audiobook, I also don't know how the season's going to wrap up. Is this going to be a Super Bowl year? Is this going to be a quick exit year? the drama with Diggs, which ends up happening at the end of that season, and the Hamlin injury happens that season, as well as two, our worst blizzards of history. The deadliest blizzard we've ever had in Buffalo happened. So, plus May 14th, it was an incredibly difficult, complicated, and dramatic year. And so in some ways I was lucky to have just jumped into the pool during such an iconic season, but I had no idea what I was getting into. And so I would just basically be watching the game and then sit there and think about it after to be like, well, what should the Titans be, and what mattered from that game that I really should try to bring to light. The Titans is a good example because the only relevant player was, King Henry. So just making him kind of the central figure and then going from there. So, it was all on the fly.
You mentioned,
I mean, quite impressive if that is the case on there, especially if it's just like week by week segments on there.
Yeah.
It was. And then as time started to stretch, I, was so far behind that I was taking bigger bites, looking back. I'm like, okay, well, this 3-game stretch, what do I want to take out of that 3 games as opposed to all of it? But it's interesting too. And like, I don't want to like change the order too much, but just to talk on that, as we've alluded to, I'm working on a Sabres book, and
nice.
I'm mostly that's going to be the big follow-up, and I think this is kind of breaking the news too, which is cool for whoever's listening.
Yeah,
breaking news on Step Brother Sports. We love it. Yeah, it's good. Thank you.
But process-wise, like this Sabres story, I'm covering sort of like the drought and obviously the end of the drought. And so it's very different. And I find the process is like, it is quite a different book because I know the entire 14 years, and like, who do I want to bring out? And, what lore, like you were saying, what civilizations do we want to bring out of our history? And I can know the end at the beginning, which is kind of crazy. Like I know already that the drought ends and the role that Tuck plays and Tage and Darlene and Oposo and, where to lean and where to let go. And it's cool. It'll be a very interesting follow-up and quite a bit different, I think. It's definitely the same universe, but and Josh will be in it, and some of the Bills.
Oh, that's great
stuff. Yeah.
I hope there's a betrayal arc for Kyle Okposo.
Yeah. I know, it's so tough. I mean, he's like beloved, but it hurts so much when they leave. I was telling Chris a little offline, like how I am so invested in the team from like story arc and storyline points of view as much as I am, what's best for the X's and O's. Of course, I want us to do well first, but I am also like a bleeding heart for like the story choice of like, please don't trade this player. Like they're so entertaining or be helpful for me to have them in it longer. But the biggest thing being Tuck. I really wanted to build everything around Tuck being a Syracuse born, a true Buffalo fan and having spent almost as much time as anybody in the drought. And I still like, one thing that always frustrated me about working for the Bills and Sabres is as soon as someone gets traded, they wipe them from, speaking of the purge, like it's all is gone. Right. Like with the Men in Black flash, and we're supposed to forget that, Marcus Foligno was ever on the team, and you're like,
right.
He's beloved. Everybody loves him, or whatever. And you got to go through this period until they're welcomed back as like an alumni figure and all that. But
I think one of the biggest examples of that was the year of like all the trades for Eichel, Reinhart, Ristolainen. There was like this is like, all the guys on draft day, and very right in front of you, there's no Jack Eichel, there's no Sam Reinhart, no Rasmus Ristolainen. Some very key missing years you have on there.
Exactly. I know, and I was so anyways, I'm honoring, the whole picture, from in people who change and stuff. So I kind of like that. I guess what I'm trying to say is like I like that when I'm doing it for myself with my own rules, like I don't have to do what serves the narratives of
toe the company line. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. I can be like, yeah, Jack Eichel's in it and he's a villain because of how I feel.
Perfect. Because not everybody will view him that way, but I think a good majority would.
I think so.
So yeah, but definitely more on the Sabres later. But thank you for giving us a perspective on that, because that is definitely something I wanted to really highlight on as well. But yeah, more on Buffalo versus the Multiverse here.
Sure.
Got a couple of quick rapid fire ones for you, because I mean, you could do so much with just like the personas and characters, of course, on here. Basically, like just a few, like right off the top of your head, just after now having completed this project. So first off, it's just based on this, like out of all the Bills players on that you've been able to like produce here and illustrate and give like a perspective on, which Bills player do you think would secretly make the best supervillain on this?
Supervillain,
yes, like kind of like doing a heel turn of sorts.
Okay, well, I mean, Diggs does play that role very well.
That's true.
In the story. So from being, the super best friend of everybody to then he does the heel turn. And so we get to watch that happen. From the current team, I want to be a little careful, but like I think I personally, have a lot of feelings about the McDermott firing, and so I don't love the front office right now.
Okay.
So that would be something that like comes to mind of like, kind of a surprise betrayal.
Right.
That
we're gonna see that guy again at some point. You know it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I actually had a thought as Sean and I were like getting ready with our notes for today. Is a supervillain that could like kind of come like just basically being sick of all the shit being said about him and just finally like just explodes and just becomes evil in this case. I thought Keon Coleman would have been a perfect one.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah. I mean, and in a way I'm beholden to what happens on the field and everything, but he's definitely primed. He's definitely became more of an outsider last season. So this is his redemption year or his revenge year. We'll see. But yeah.
That's great. I just one other one I want to kind of get into like actual nitty gritty Bills just for the extensive part, because this has been great just kind of getting into the content of the book too, of course. But every author or even just creator of sorts always kind of puts like little Easter eggs of sorts in their works, whether it's in film, in writing, what have you. But is there an Easter egg found in either one of the books on there that you've written and created that maybe nobody's really caught or just kind of found at this point?
It's tough because it is a book of Easter eggs. Like it is Easter morning.
Okay.
But and as you mentioned, like I try to like have them there for the deep fans, like people who are listening to Step Brothers and many other deep sports podcasts who know all the players and their histories. I think you'll find a richer, different experience, but hopefully it's fine for just the casual fan too, who's just like, I love Josh. I love the colors. Go Bills. Hopefully that's there too. But yeah, I mean, there's deep non-sports versions. Like I have, references to Buffalo's history and the steel industry and the Pan American Exposition and
so that Pan American Exposition. Just like I'm a huge history buff. I taught social studies for a number of years too, and just basically how Theodore Roosevelt just became very much into the scene after the events of that huge world event, really. So, but no, I love that. I'm all about it.
Yeah. There's all that. The bubble guy from Allentown, the iconic. He's in there blowing bubbles in Allentown.
I caught him before he passed, actually. I think I met him once or twice. Yeah.
Yeah. Wonderful guy. I wish someone would pick up the mantle or do a permanent bubble blowing monument up on that building, but maybe we can work on that.
Yeah.
I do have one more a rapid fire one I have to ask you.
So
with your background, if Hollywood called tomorrow, who plays Josh Allen?
Well, Chris Pratt's the obvious.
Yeah,
my obvious answer. Yeah. Not only because they look like twins and have been mistaken in airports as the other person.
Yeah. I remember seeing that footage of that too. That was just like, wow.
But also, like, the Chris Pratt energy is very much in line, and in a lot of, and for a fun reference point is like when the early days of creating AI art that I was doing, like, you need to do things to help use very few words to try to tell the models like what you're going for. And so oftentimes I could use Chris Pratt as a quick way to cut out 50 words. So when I'm trying to create like an illustration of Josh, it didn't know who Josh was. And, it's a lot to be like brown hair, brown eyes, this type of build, this tall. So you could just sort of say Chris Pratt and get quite pretty far down the line. So
there you go.
I love it.
That's helpful.
Agreed.
Yeah, that's I think it just considering just how much like detail has gone into that, that's pretty cool just to see like the process of that too. But yeah, now to the Bills themselves. But of course, like you said, you're not like you were born in Buffalo, but you are a Buffalo native through and through. Obviously, you've been there pretty much your entire life. So you, along with almost anyone who's a fan of the team, may have some pretty strong opinions on them. You kind of alluded to that a little bit with just your thoughts on how Sean McDermott was let go. But kind of go into now more just like the sports side of things on this for the Bills. After the big changes they really endured this offseason, Sean McDermott getting let go, Joe Brady getting promoted, Brandon Beane getting this big promotion as well. Some of the departures, all these players that were on the previous team still pretty much unsigned almost anywhere you go. Trade for DJ Moore, the draft picks. I mean, give us like your overall outlook on the Bills going into this season, Travis, just because, I mean, as much as like you were saying, there's definitely your casuals, and then to your diehards on anywhere from that scale, like everybody has some level of talking points they can at least be well versed in on the Bills. But like, give us your thoughts on the Bills for going into this season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm never too worried with Josh and the best athlete in sports right now on our team. But my overall feeling is one of a bit of hesitation and trepidation, and I want to be proven wrong, obviously, but I think it is vastly underestimated the role that McDermott was playing on the team. And having been there through the Rex Ryan years and the drought in the building, being like in the locker room, it's just night and day. And I think we got so lucky that, and I'll give credit to Pagula for identifying McDermott at the time. But the culture shift, I just don't think can be underestimated. And I think a lot of you got to remember, like, Josh was an unproven talent that got molded and crafted, by his own strength and by a strong organization. I don't know if certainly Rex Ryan wasn't going to create the Josh Allen out of raw talent. I don't think. So that I do feel very, very, disappointed in that, and especially the context of it. And I did not like how it was, just like how it all went down. I feel like if you're going to make a move that big, it shouldn't be an emotional seat of the pants type decision. And I was actually hoping that wasn't the case, and sort of that infamous press conference seems to reinforce like that.
It's terrible.
It was handled like rather quickly, and maybe as a blindsided move to both Beane and Josh, who are, I'm not doom and gloom, but worst case scenario, you do something like that, you could really impact the trust of your most important player. And I just don't. Josh was in such a moment of emotion, clearly, like we had never seen him like that. And it really bothers me that for someone to be in such a moment and then to feel like they couldn't even have that, because then that triggered an owner to make a rash decision. It's almost like, man, Josh has to be our best quarterback. Now he's got to be the coach, and he's got to be something for the, for the office. So I don't know. And then I was kind of hoping that if we were in that situation, we would take a bigger look outside of the organization. I want to be proven wrong, but I get the feeling that Joe Brady is a position coach, and a really good one. He's a player's coach. He's supportive. He's rah, got good energy, but it takes so much more than that. And we're really McDermott got a lot of criticism being the head coach, but there's a lot of big game management decisions that maybe he didn't always get right. But you mentioned all the players that are not currently on the signed, and I give a lot of credit to McDermott for taking bargain basement players and bringing them back from the dead, so to speak, and having a usable team and the most wins in history, the most wins in the NFL during that time period, more than the Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, everybody will have their opinions on Sean McDermott, of course. It's a shame he didn't really have any hardware besides the division titles, of course, too. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of interesting. It's like you have a very differing viewpoint of Sean McDermott compared to our last week's guest, Cam McCarty. But like, he also was willing to say, like, hey, last season was his best season he thought he ever coached out of all of them, despite all that happened too, of course. So, I mean, despite his detractors, like, he still had like a level of respect about him. And I think everybody can all agree at the fact that, like, it was very much botched in how they handled his exit and his departure. I mean, even from like the so long farewell message, like, instead of saying admirable, you say admiral. And our friend of the show, Tim Graham, made it one of his podcasts, like, covers of just like Sean McDermott dressed in like a Navy admiral suit, like walking the plank.
Yes. I know. So, it almost sounds like something out of the multiverse.
Exactly, right?
It does.
Yeah. But yeah, kind of give us like just maybe a couple other thoughts on the team going into the year. Like, I mean, the hottest topic right now for the team, I feel like, or at least one of the biggest positives and brightest things, DJ Moore. He's been, I mean, I'm knocking on woods and crossing every finger and toe on me to make sure like all
stay healthy,
of his appendages and everything else stay intact, of course. But like that connection seems to be blooming in a very awesome way, and having a receiver of his caliber is somebody like we haven't had since Stephon Diggs, who we talked about. And it's funny, Stephon Diggs signed with Washington Commanders, so he'll be very much more of a local. Yeah, he did. He'll be very much more of a local flair for me. I'm in Washington country, so
yeah, that's great. I'm happy for Diggs to be a little farther from us and not on the Patriots. And
right.
I think the Patriots is an interesting conversation point too. We don't need to go into it, but just it's an interesting rivalry returning, and it'll be interesting to see this year how they handle the first place schedule. But yeah, I love the idea of having a number one receiver again, and especially coupled with the number one rushing attack. I mean, like, are we going to have the best offense? I don't know. Something's got to give.
And a former MVP, just a couple years removed too. So I mean, you could think, like you're saying, the sky could be the limit.
Yeah, and wouldn't that be interesting? And something we love. Maybe you guys did too, but I loved the Brian Dable Bills, who were airing it out a lot, and we could see the Superman of Josh at the time, and they were a lot more fun to watch, when we could stretch the field with Hollywood Brown and some of the deeper threats and Diggs, of course.
Yeah.
Even Gabe Davis for a period, was had some great catches. But so I'm thrilled that we have a new weapon, and there will be injuries somewhere, but in the past, our depth was pretty good, and I do think there's a lot of the leadership core, I think, is still there, which hopefully helps bridge the transition and makes the pressure on Joe Brady not quite so enormous. That you have Josh, who can act as a type of coordinator or a type of, the amount of culture impact that he has in helping the team bond and making sure that there's the right amount of discipline and camaraderie and the right attitude. Beyond the athletic prowess, I have so much respect, and that's partially what made me like McDermott as well. Is just I've had a lot of respect for the organization of the Bills, and that sort of started with Josh and McDermott. Of like, we win with grace and we lose with grace, and there's a lot of humility, and the job's not done, and it made you feel good about being a Buffalo fan, and
Right.
so there's no reason that needs to change with Joe Brady, and I hoping for the best. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
And like you were saying before, he's very much, he gives that like persona of a rah-rah guy, but I do think like it's kind of embedded in him now. Like he will bleed like the red, white, and blue of the Bills in a sense now, because obviously you have to as the head coach. Like you can't not embrace the culture of the area and then literally be the head coach of the Buffalo Bills. But still, I mean, like you were saying, I was very apprehensive at the hire at first too. I mean, but there's been a lot of just different illuminating pieces. Obviously, you're trying to gas the guy up in the offseason too, to be like, hey, you got a guy here. It's also crazy to me thinking like I'm literally the same age as Joe Brady, and he's the head coach of the Buffalo
We're getting
Bills.
old, man. We're getting old.
I know. So it's just kind of just crazy just thinking like that's like a reality in the world we're living in too. And like even just like the closest in age of Allen and Joe Brady, just because they're only like a few years apart themselves, like that could be like a big brother relationship more than like a father-son dynamic of what he had with, say, Sean McDermott. Yeah. But still, I mean, at the very least, like I think we're all in agreement here. Like they're probably at the bare minimum going to the playoffs. I mean, last year they were a wild card team just because of the way the Patriots were able to win the division last year. I mean, I think it's going to be quite a bit more close, of course, too. I mean, just it will come down, I think, to the wire because the Patriots, I think, will still be great despite their first place schedule. I mean, they're going to have pretty much just as challenging of a ordeal as the Bills do. I mean, I think the Patriots are starting off right away against the Seahawks, the Super Bowl rematch. So that was a little house of horrors for them, especially in the Super Bowl. I mean, Bills starting right away with Houston, the same vibe, another house of horrors, except we can't win in Houston. I think the last one was since like 2004 or 2006 or something outrageous like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, but needless to say, a lot of hope on the horizon. I do think, like you were saying before, like the offense can really and hopefully bloom under Brady again. Like on paper, if you just see like offensive-minded head coach, young, all these boxes that he's checking, but then all of a sudden you see the name Joe Brady. It's just like gives you that hesitation, but I like maybe an outside observer, maybe not necessarily being in like the Western New York or Bills content creation like echo chamber of sorts. Like others may think otherwise of him, just because he may have very well coached the Las Vegas Raiders and had like look at the sparkling new head coach Joe Brady we have. I mean, they did go with Clint Kubiak, of course, still kind of the same ilk, just because he's also younger, offensive whiz of sorts. But still, it'll be very interesting to see just like within the first month of just how Brady does.
Yeah.
Were you guys interested in Kubiak?
Go ahead.
Were you guys interested in Kubiak as an option?
I mean, there was just so many things in the way of him like being able to actually have an interview, and had the Bills waited for him, like they were at risk of potentially losing out on other people as well, including Brady. I mean, obviously that's who they went with, but I was really high on Grant Udinski of the Jaguars, just because again, like he was also again super young, which would have been nuts. I mean, but you also look at Sean McVay; he made it work as like a 30-year-old coach when he first got to the Rams. I mean, I thought like he's what really made the Jaguars like shine offensively this year. And I mean, say what you will about Trevor Lawrence, he's not exactly a welcome face in my house, just because my wife is a UVA ACC grad over here after Trevor Lawrence's years at Clemson. But still, I really liked Udinski. And then again, had it not been Joe Brady's name on paper, would think like, oh man, we got an offensive guru coming in. But like, we'll see, because is he going to unshackle himself? And I'm sure that's been talked about and just rephrased in so many different pods or just radio shows on WGR, what have you, near and far and wide.
Yeah.
Is he going to like really unleash like what Brian Dable was saying, like what you were saying on there, Travis, like the air raid, and just combine that with a really awesome rushing attack, or maybe even feature these backs in the passing game? Or is it going to be like the obnoxious screen passes, or if he's really scrambling and trying to do a last-ditch effort, is he going to do more hook and ladders and stuff like that too? The stuff that kind of drove us crazy a bit.
Yeah.
One thing too I wanted to mention too to you, Travis, is I know like when the whole coaching, when the firing happened at first, I know at least my perspective, in my opinion, I think Chris Mass felt the same. So we kind of were expecting that Bean would have been the guy to go, or both of them. Right. I didn't see a world where Bean is retained and become president. And then I almost felt that also too with you mentioned, I think you hit the nail on the head with not looking outside of the organization. I do obviously believe in I think that the proof is in the pudding that they were really high on Joe Brady, but I almost feel like they had to elevate him because they were worried that being in that coaching cycle, he was going to get claimed by somebody. Like it was already in the previous year's coaching cycle that they might lose him. And I think we might have gave him a raise too in that offseason. I don't remember.
They did. I think he was in the running for New Orleans.
Right. So I feel like they kind of had their back against the wall that it's like maybe this isn't the best decision, but we kind of have to do this. And Josh obviously put his stamp of approval on it. So long-winded kind of a comment. And I also wanted to touch on too. So for the DJ Moore thing, the one thing I do like about the offense, you guys talking about like the air raid thing, and maybe they go a little bit more well balanced in terms of throwing it as much as running, or maybe even a little bit more like the Dable offenses. I think, talking back and thinking about the Stephon Diggs role, having that true outside like X receiver, is DJ Moore Stephon Diggs in his prime? No, but I don't think he's that far off. And what that ultimately does is that knocks everybody down a peg in the order. And I think when you line up and have, the Bills' weapons, you have DJ Moore, Coleman in a big slot, or could maybe play outside. You have Shakir that should be able to have teams third or fourth corner on them. And then, in Dalton, Kincaid has looked really good so far at camp. Like he looks like this is going to be his real breakout if he can be healthy and maybe be a number one target from a tight end position. I think the offense is going to be just fine and be even better because of that. The defense, obviously, there's a lot of young guys, which they have a good rotation. Should be able to get some pass rush. And I like Jim Leonard's ability to, send some kind of exotic blitzes and similar to McDermott scheme up in the back end in the secondary to be more aggressive and to make plays with, more pressure up front. But my question to you is, and we've asked the last couple of guests this question. I don't know what you feel about, what your prognostication is if, they're a Super Bowl team, or they can make the playoffs, win the division, whatever. You could tell us that. Is there any scenario that you could see in your mind where they have like a catastrophic season and then either Joe Brady is fired after a year or Bean gets the axe?
I don't think it's likely they'll have a catastrophic season, but if they were to have a catastrophic season, I think,
right.
If they go like 0-6 or something, I don't think we have
start
much
things off. Yeah.
Yeah. Or 1-6, but I don't know. Pegula is a very interesting decision maker. And so he's shown incredible patience, potentially too long. And then he's shown incredible, reactionary tendencies. And I've seen him in a corporate setting, not just a sports setting.
Right.
And that's how he operated in both. And so there's always a wild card factor when one person is in control and they have strong feelings or a bad day or personal biases. So I would like to see a full season, of course, and the beginning of a second season. But I do think our biggest priority, of course, is the Josh Allen window. So
as it should be. Right,
I don't have much patience for let's try it out. Let's see, if almost what I would have given to McDermott, who was working with Tyrod Taylor and stuff, of to me, he's got a 3-year path here to see if he can take a drought team who's very embarrassing to some sort of professionalism,
Succeeded with flying colors too. And I think wherever McDermott will go next, I think he will take on. I mean, if it was maybe next year, and I feel like the Arizona Cardinals had Sean McDermott like just maybe queued up potentially too, just because I feel like they're also like the malaise of the league, and they're literally starting Jacoby Brissett and that kid from Georgia who doesn't exactly have a lot of things going for him at the moment. I forget, like he has the unfortunate like. Why is his name missing me at the moment? He gets like all those memes of like the guy from Timmy from South Park right next to him. You know what I'm talking about? Oh, what is his name? It's gonna drive me crazy. It'll come to me later and be like, oh, that's the guy. But either way, that guy is also gonna be starting for the Cardinals tomorrow night in the Hall of Fame game. Right. Oh man, it's gonna drive me.
It feels like we're gonna have to beat McDermott in the Super Bowl, like to get our first one somehow. We're gonna end up having to beat him.
Yeah, there you now that would be
and watch him beat us.
Twist.
Terrible.
Oh yeah, I mean that's the ultimate cold sweat that I wake up in every night. It's like, I don't know. I wonder if the Browns would look at him. I don't think the Browns have the competence to pick a winner, but
they just hired a guy too. So
where's Pietro?
Like
Tell us. Our good friend Pietro is a huge.
He's a Cleveland guy through and through. So, but it's another one just like gone like that too. Like I don't think the Browns would be willing to fire Todd Monken after a year, especially with just the way they're going to be so in flux next year too, just because there's a better quarterback class coming out. Obviously, Arch Manning probably being the headliner for that, as well as a few others. But still, like them thinking that Deshaun Watson and Shedeur Sanders are the answer for them after years of malaise, I don't think that's going to necessarily bring them to the promised land. But before we continue a little bit more, I did want to get a word from our sponsor, and that would be DraftKings Sportsbook. So the DraftKings Sportsbook app is now available in all 50 states and includes all markets. So with that, looking at a few futures, of course, I like to bring this up every week just because we're still in off-season mode. The Buffalo Sabres, they are plus 3,000 for their odds to win the Stanley Cup. They are tied with the Utah Mammoth, New Jersey Devils, and LA Kings. Still great to see that they are better odds than the Toronto Maple Leafs. Those at the top, you have the Florida Panthers and Carolina Hurricanes at plus 650 for their odds. When it comes to the Bills, their week one matchup against Houston, they are 1.5 point favorites on the road to start the season too. I think it'll be very interesting to see how that Joe Brady offense will shape up to arguably the best defense in the NFL for their very first game. I mean, and again, like we already alluded to, that was a little bit of a house of horrors these last few times that the Bills have gone to Houston too. So whether it was that playoff matchup, Josh Allen's very first time he went there, he got his elbow injury. And the last couple just not exactly going the Bills' way, despite some close matchups, of course. We shall see if that 1.5 point spread will also line up for them. But with that also, new DraftKings customers can sign up with the code THPN. So spend $5 to get $200 in rewards within 21 days. That's code THPN, as in the Hockey Podcast Network, THPN. And that is in partnership with DraftKings. The crown is yours. So with that also, I got a couple questions coming in through here as well, or just some question prompts from us. Feel free to chime in, folks, if you have not only questions for Travis, or if you have some over-under wins maybe you could project out for the team going into this year. So then you got some people saying hammer the over. I love that also. But still, Travis.
10.5 is light.
Yeah. How are we doing on time, by the way? You good for a little bit more?
I'm good, yeah.
All right, and then Joey Hatch chiming in. Dawkins had such a shit gale. Yes, and that was one a lot of people were thinking.
Now.
Like,
he lost a bunch of weight. He'll be.
Was he concussed potentially, where he just kind of stopped dead in his tracks and then just watched the guy maul Josh Allen afterward? So yeah, very alarming to see how that played out. And then the following week, he was out against the Steelers. But yeah, Travis, how are we doing on time?
I'm good. Whatever you
awesome.
want.
All right, yeah. So let's transition a bit more to the Sabres because you've obviously talked about a little bit for how much Alex Tuck meant to the team this past season, but the team themselves, the Sabres, had some much needed success. Yeah. And this past offseason was obviously another kind of like offseason full of change, especially with some big name players coming out with Tuck himself, Bowen Byram. But this ultimately, like the season they just had, reignited truly like the region's love for the team once again.
Yeah.
I mean, tell us your thoughts again, just kind of shifting right from the Bills to the Sabres, and what you think their outlook will be after they give us a banner-raising season. Because that game one, the home opener, or rather game two, of course, when they play Chicago, and Patrick Kane, maybe he could be a villain in the upcoming Sabres book. He'll be there for that banner raising for the Atlantic Division Championship from last year. But kind of give us your thoughts on the Sabres, and then we could talk a little bit more about your next project.
Yeah, Sabres just blew us away. I mean, what a roller coaster. I mean, I don't need to tell. Also, breaking news on the Step Brothers podcast. Sabres went from worst to first, and it made everybody exuberant. It was just so fun. And in the energy, specifically like the downtown energy, it really makes me wish, the Bill Stadium could also share some of that. But it's the team. I'll back up a little bit too and say, like, when I worked for the team, we were in the dark days of the drought, and the biggest accomplishments we would have would be some decently long. I think we got to 10-game win streak as well, but much longer losing streaks. And and it was just such a weird, invisible time to kind of be working and to have everything you do be negative. When you're an employee, and just a word of wisdom to all of us who get frustrated and take out our energies against the social media teams and stuff, it's just so hard to exist for everybody. And they talk a lot about, and maybe I'm over talking about winning and losing culture, because like when you're in the organizations, you can really feel that existing. And when you are holding a microphone in front of the players every night, it's you can feel that, and it's a tough thing to break. And that's why I'm just so impressed that they were. It seems almost impossible that they could do that same group of players could just turn on a dime. That fabled dinner in Calgary, where it seems like the leadership core was just told, basically, stop blaming other people for your problems and ask yourself what you should be doing better. How can I, or ask your buddies, how can I be better? And a good lesson for all of us, and how much you can get your life in order in a weekend if you just have that talk once and believe it. So it's just incredible to know like what we had in the tank. So that's really cool. It's a inspiring story. The energy was fantastic. I went to the first Montreal game at home. I don't remember if that was game 1 or game 3.
Yeah, it would have been game 1. That was the only home game against Montreal they won.
Yeah, and we won, and it was the most electric atmosphere. So
we feel you on that, because we were at game 1 against Boston, where things were looking dire until those last 10 minutes. Game.
Yep, and what an explosion at the end of all that pent up. So yeah, it's cool, and I never, as most Sabres fans, like, hadn't really felt what playoffs are like, especially hockey playoffs where it's every other night, and you just so cool, so unique to unique in the sense of when we're only talking about football and hockey, to have like, how are you going to beat your opponent seven days in a row, or 4 out of the 7? Right. Great structure, great drama. It's fun to get to know them and the fans and the culture. So now, do I think we'll do it again this year with the adjustments? I don't necessarily think so. And I wouldn't be super down or the sky is falling if that were to happen. Ultimately, if I look on paper, I think the Tuck trade makes sense. Like, I didn't want to overpay, and it sounds like even the way it was going to work out, he was going to be overpaid and is overpaid for what his production is. I would love to see somebody, though, fill that role at the correct rate soon. Maybe this season that still can happen if someone doesn't mature into that role. But I do feel like there's a hole there in the power forwards or in just the top 6 that I would like to see replaced or backfilled. That's my only concern.
No, that's fair. I mean, and we've talked
They're
about
tying
this many
some kids,
times,
tying the wagon to the kids,
right? Between
we kind of feel
Olsen,
that they might take a step back, honestly. But that's
Olsen,
okay.
Kulik, Kalenius, they're the talking point of the offseason for sure. And I feel like, again, like, say what you will about what he did while GM, but he did get to these players. Kevin Adams, that seems to be a Kevin Adams type of move. Whereas you have Jarmo Kekalainen with his resume being somebody like swinging for the fences, a go-getter, wanting to make a splash, that type of thing. I feel like there were efforts to do that, of course. I mean, you heard all the speculation with Robert Thomas. The Colton Parayko trade almost went through had he not blocked it, those types of things. Mm-hmm. I mean, there's rumblings still previously of Connor Hellebuck. I mean, that's obviously still at like a very much stalling point ever since the NHL draft. But still, like, I'm still shocked that they really didn't want to go for that next step on there, especially after this immense year of growth that they just had, and just being able to get the monkey off their back, which was the playoff drought essentially. And now they can like move forward and be like, all right, these were some areas or deficiencies that we had. I mean, we've talked about this plenty. Bowen Byram departing and getting his bag of $12.5 million a year, and then replacing him with what looks to be a very a cheaper and more inexpensive version of him in Olin Zellweger. Also, looks quite capable. There's a little bit of footage of him doing some practice and skating. Man, did he look like he had some wheels
he
on
can
him.
fly, bro. He might be the fastest D in the league.
That was quite impressive. So I think just replacing that, and then obviously Louis Crevier coming part of that trade with Byram as well, that might add a little bit more of like just girth and size, and just, hey, you never know. He's also got one of the hardest shots out there too. So you never know what you can get. His metrics when he was with a bad Chicago team, hey, very encouraging to see there as well. But kind of getting into this Sabres project here, Travis. I'm very curious, like, what will be just like some things that you can kind of give a little bit of a sneak peek on just while we have you on, and what people can really look for. I mean, you mentioned Alex Tuck being like emphasized as part of this as well, but feel free to allude a little bit more to us for what's there.
And also, too, let us know, if you can, how big of a character Zach Benson would be in a project like this.
Yeah, I got a great plan for Zach.
I'm sure you do.
If you, I don't know if you picked up on it, but Darlene, he lived with Darlene, and there was one time, I think it was during the playoffs or locker room cleanout, where he's just like, he's so weird, like Benson's so weird, and I don't know, that just triggered a whole line of how this kind of a strange character is gonna show up. And this, so the Bills book was me just sort of like understanding what the multiverse was, and I a few things is the Sabres book in general. I'm definitely giving a lot of prominence to RJ and his legacy, and he's sort of kind of like a Gandalf, Dumbledore type figure for those of you who like fantasy, and so he's kind of the leader of a sacred school. And so one thing that a lot of, like, nobody probably knows, but Tuck and Josh Allen were born in the same month, the same year. So they're like the same class.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So 1996. And I was like, and then very, just later in that year, also Haley Steinfeld and Jack Eichel are also, and Knox are all born. So these are our 1996 class of young people. And I'm like, okay, I don't know. So I think one of the things that will be a part of the story is like they're like this group kind of being raised together of who will end up becoming like villains and stars. And, you know, Jack becomes the chosen, you know, savior of the Sabres, in maybe a moment when Tuck thought he could have been. So in a way, I'm not, it's definitely not Hogwarts or Harry Potter, but there will be a school of gifted children that RJ is sort of overseeing, and we get to see the
almost has an X-Men vibe to it. If you're saying gifted youngsters,
love that.
The Xavier school, yeah. So, but it'll be our Buffalo version of it, probably out in Syracuse, Central New York vibes, and plus getting to interact with, like, you know, Josh and Haley as young people and all that, and so and then because we're spending time in the drought, it's also a darker story, a more mature story. So it's got I'm kind of like taking the reins off a little bit. I'm like stretching a little farther into things that are more extreme, more emotional, more fun. I'm just kind of going for it a little bigger and harder and having more fun with it. So yeah.
Hey, we're here for it. I mean, considering all that the Sabres put everybody through, like it was 15 years. I mean, the Bills, at least you felt like you had a chance all the time. For so long with the Sabres, it's just like you were circling
Season's
the
over
drain.
by Christmas. Great.
Yep, circling the drain. And for that, like, I feel like that it should be a little bit darker. The tone, like, absolutely would make sense. And if it was all like rose-colored glasses the whole time, it just wouldn't fit the bill, of course, especially with just how some of the player interactions went on here, too. Also, I see Joey Hatch chime in a couple times. I want to make sure he got some shout-outs here. Started the 716 Buffalo Blizzards podcast, as well as the Rocky Mountain Bills Mafia podcast. So, hey, thanks for letting us know. We'll absolutely be checking that out. I think I saw that come across my Instagram. I'll be making sure to tune in on that. So thanks for the heads up on that, man. But anyway, back to the Sabres book on there, just with that overall darker feel. I mean, you have a lot of lore to work with here as well. I mean, I'm sure you're probably going to incorporate French Connection, Dominic Hasek. I mean, I'm very curious just because I thought this was the most fascinating thing ever since Joe DiBiase brought this up months ago, was that Lindy Ruff himself has been involved with the Sabres organization as either a player or coach in every decade of their existence, which I think is insane. Yes. I feel like I'm fully anticipating he's going to have a prominent role in there. Absolutely.
Yeah. So the vibe of the Sabres, so the Bills were very much a Wild West gang in a very small town, and the Sabres are up in the mountains. The Sabertooth Mountains is the setting, and their culture vibe is a bit more like samurai Himalaya type like mountain men of like the Far East. And
I'm wondering what the samurai thing you're saying, if you're going to have a little nod to Taro Sugimoto here.
Absolutely. Mount Sugimoto is their main place.
Heck yeah. All right.
And at some point, probably the spirit of Taro will have to come in. And then I see you've got your Pominville sign. So Pominville is their capital and the pride. And I mean, the main instigating factor is that, as you might remember, it was basically the month that Pegula bought the team was our last playoff appearance. And so there will be a collision of him coming to Pominville and, basically the start of an apocalypse that,
all right.
That sets our story in motion and also like, because of that, like the darker tone, and by darker, I mean like it's more extreme, but also it's still like just as funny and, but just sort of in I guess it's more of a tone of like a Deadpool universe than it is, I don't know, Captain America or something. Which,
that makes sense.
So, so that, because I think, like you said, the Sabres had such a depressing low for so long that it felt like they were not only unwatchable, but they did not believe. And we were taking, I don't know, basically the worst. I recently did a Google search of worst NHL team in history, because I was trying to find someone else, and it was just like, no, it's the Sabres.
The Sabres. Yeah.
Eventually we'll talk about the Coyotes, but we could Sabres.
We had the longest drought ever.
One of the, I think they set the record for longest losing streak in that one Ralph Kruger season right before he got fired too. So
yeah, that's true.
And the number of great players who came through, but just like it wasn't working. So and that'll all be portrayed with like, it seems like an apocalypse in the mountains, and we send these expeditions into the mountains, but nobody comes back, and we're just I'm having a lot of fun writing it, and I can't wait to. I'm hoping beyond hope to have it for this Christmas season, so have it on your radar as a potential gift. And
absolutely,
you have to let us know. I know I have lots of nieces and nephews, so And lots of family members.
I would happily pre-order that just because I feel like
me too.
I mean, the lore of that, you could just go down so many different rabbit holes with it too. But like, Travis, really thank you for giving us that.
Yeah, thank you.
Really
Travis.
cool sneak peek of that, just because I'm very much looking forward to that project, especially just after the year they just had. I mean, we talked about this on plenty of other shows as well. I mean, we were very first when we began this podcast, a Sabres podcast through and through. But again, that was like still through like the tail end of like the last of like the hard Kevin Adams years. And then the Palm Trees conference happened. And I'm just like, and Sean and I looked
just
at
when you thought you fit the bottom. No,
right. Like we had to shift to the Bills as well to get on here. Not to mention just trying to get other content from like other markets as well, just to give us a little bit more of a wider base, but still.
Yeah.
To us, I mean, especially like having like our formative years with the goat head jerseys, they had the 05-06 and the 06-07 years. Like those were just like the teams that just like really meant something to us more so. So I think while yes, we absolutely love and will bleed for the Bills, red, white, and blue, like every day of the week. Yeah. I mean, to us, like the blue and gold, and many people are calling it crest loyalty these days. Mm-hmm. I mean, that I think rings more true to us than ever. So.
For sure.
But yeah,
what's your take on the Saberhood, the campaign that the team is trying to give to the fans?
I neither love it nor hate it. I mean, you got to be creative. You got to think of some cool stuff. I mean, obviously it rhymes with neighborhood and things like that too. So like, I get why they did it. Or like if you're being knighted, it's like you're in the Saberhood. Like you could have it be like a play on words with that too. I mean, like I said, I neither love it nor hate it. I wish they had, like, I know, like, you see the hashtags every year, but Bills Mafia is always, like, an easy go-to. Everybody knows what Bills Mafia is now at this point, just for the way Dell and everybody, like, established that for what it is now. That's, like, an institution of sorts. But, like, the Sabres, they just need to, like, pick one and, like, run with it. Because at the end of this year, like, of the regular season, they shifted from the Saberhood for the, like, acted like their team icon activated hashtag to they shifted it to Let's Go Buffalo, which again, like when you're hearing that in like the stands of KeyBank Center, like you get it, Let's Go Buffalo. Like I get that part, but like you pick one and
they need to commit. Yeah, exactly. Commit. 100%.
I know it's maybe sustained success, or but Bills Mafia came out of sustained losing, so I guess it's just a matter of the right time it'll happen. But it's just interesting. It's all good. It's cool.
Oh yeah, that was actually a good question. Thanks for asking that. So, but before we kind of wrap things up, Travis, I kind of alluded to you, just giving you a heads up on it today. Is our next segment we do is what's called the Grind My Gears, Give Them Their Flowers segment. And for those who are unfamiliar, of course, the Grind My Gears portion of that is if you have something that's absolutely driving you batshit crazy, and you just wanted to like vent and let loose and lay some hate, just even be funny about it as well. We're all ears for that. Or if you want to give someone their flowers in homage to our mom's company, Larger Than Life Blooms, LTL. Just a little shout out back to that. Currently decommissioned. Maybe someday they'll kind of pick the reins up again. But giving them their flowers.
Now it's in Greenville.
Now it's in Greenville. So maybe they'll see a resurgence there. But at the same time, giving someone their flowers, if you're willing to like be thankful or give like some props to somebody that's been, or something even for that matter, that's been really like important, meaningful to you, or just something that really great you've experienced so far. But just to kind of start things off, I'll go with give them their flowers, because yesterday I saw the newest Spider-Man movie, and
it had a hell of an opening weekend.
It sure did. So mind you, like, sure, like say what you will about like, and also just talking about this, like the Marvel multiverse in general, like I found that to be fitting just talking about it today. Spider-Man was never like growing up like my go-to favorite. I was always like a more grittier, like I like Batman, like the Dark Knight era stuff. I like Wolverine because he had a very dark, tragic past. I mean, I liked stories like The Punisher, but then seeing like this version of Tom Holland as Spider-Man, I thought was really outstanding. And just like how he himself is now, like you're seeing this portrayed on in film, and just how he deals with it. And I think it just gives him so much more depth as a character instead of like just this wisecracking, like a superhero like your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man like persona, of course, but still, I thought it was an outstanding movie, easily one of the best Marvel films that they've had in years. And obviously, like, I'm not going to give a particular person a shout out on there, but to those who made Spider-Man Brand New Day, like, hey, props to you, because that really made me like enjoy the character on a whole deeper level. So
you recommend it?
Absolutely, yes. I mean, again, Spider-Man was never like my absolute favorite growing up. Like, I enjoyed the movies, especially like the Tobey Maguire era ones, or just like getting a few comics here and there.
Peter is your favorite.
Yeah. Bonesaw is ready.
Bonesaw is ready.
Yes, but still, very much enjoyed Brand New Day. And if you haven't seen it, and if you're a Marvel fan of any kind, or just like, again, bringing like the multiverse part of this, because that's going to be the big thing for when Doctor Doom comes in the next Avengers movie. I'm sure that'll be prominently portrayed on there too, especially if you see the final after credits scene for what may also come too. So that'll be what I want to give some flowers to this week.
Very nice. You want to go, Travis? I got some if you want to go last.
Jeff, either feel free to have something that's grinding your gears or give some flowers.
I'm good, but yeah, I'm ready. I'll go.
Fire away.
Mine's also a movie, so maybe it's an easy.
Nice.
But and I'll be specific. So, everyone's loving the Odyssey, and I think it's amazing as well. Christopher Nolan's career can give flowers to that, but specifically, if you've seen it at this point, I wanted to give an extra love to, and I have to look up his name to pronounce it correctly, but John Leguizamo.
Oh yeah, yeah. Actor.
My light went out a little bit, but that's okay. So he plays the blind servant partner guy, and I just thought his performance sort of like really drew me in, and I thought he really knocked it out of the park in a way that maybe my expectations wouldn't be there for such a small supporting role. So love that, and I'll also segue to give flowers to just this moment in cinema, this year in cinema, as a filmmaker and a story lover. I love that people are actually getting out to the movies. As a filmmaker, you might not know it, but the ecosystem of film, if you haven't, maybe this is a little grind my gears too, but in the last 10 years, we've seen just like an incredible shift, almost like what the Sabres did in a positive way. We've seen for the film industry, where the ecosystem of people who consume us, including myself, has shifted to like free or streaming content. And that has radically changed what can be made and who gets to create stories, and specifically to get paid for creating it. So we've created kind of accidentally through YouTube and Netflix and Disney Plus, this feeling that everything digital should be free, and it's very hard to to have a sustainable life, or for that work to be for that work to be met with a life that you can support yourself. I mean, it's really incredible, and I'm very grateful that people are buying these physical books, but it's basically a surprising shift that we've gone to. So the fact, to now bring it back to the flowers again, the fact that people are getting out, taking that time to get a babysitter and to drive to their local IMAX screen or just a movie theater is great. And hopefully you're being rewarded with great cinema this year. Make sure you go see Dune 3. I think it's going to be the best movie of the year. And Dune 2 is my absolute favorite movie of all time. And so that's my love and gratitude to the world.
Hey,
Nice.
it's near and dear to you. You got skin in the game on that too, so
Yeah,
I like that. And then I'm glad you brought up the IMAX part, just because I still have yet to see the Odyssey. Obviously, I read it in high school. Did like a little joke about that with Derek
Just talked
Kramer.
about that,
When I was very fortunate to be on the air on WGR to do a brief segment with him. Obviously, actually on the same day as MafiaCon, but still. Just knowing the story that goes behind, I'm very curious just to see it. But there isn't not a huge IMAX theater, not like the one that's in Rochester, like the one that's like the 70 millimeter one. There is an IMAX that's near us, so I can see like a larger screen format of the Odyssey. I know my father-in-law and I have been really talking about just trying to get to go do it. And obviously it's a time commitment. It's a 3-hour plus movie, but at the same time, it wouldn't be anything less in Christopher Nolan fashion too. So very much looking forward to the opportunity to see that, hopefully in the next week or so.
Yeah.
Nice. And if you want to wait for me to be in town, we can maybe do it too. But I don't know. It's not going to be for, I don't know if you guys want to wait 6 to however many weeks it's going to be.
Oh God, yeah. That's
September.
Somebody will still be
playing.
playing.
I guess you might need to buy those now, 6 weeks out.
Yeah. But actually, you guys laid the groundwork nicely. I'm going to stay with the theme of the day for the segment, and I've recently started watching not a new series, but it's a new series for me. I got recommended a show on, I think it's on, I don't know if it's Amazon. It's on one of the apps, but Mayor of Kingston with Jeremy Renner. I've never seen it, and I've been enjoying it quite a bit. It's very dark in certain ways. It has a lot to do with, those of you who haven't watched it, but like gangsters and like, a lot of like jail type of stuff. I used to watch Prison Break, but I've been enjoying watching a new show. And then also, so this is kind of a double-sided coin here. Want to give a little bit of hate to Frontier, who, if I had a personal sponsor on the show, it'd probably be Frontier Airlines, because I use them so much. And I just I have to grind my gears a little bit, because it's taken me 4 years, literally 4 years, to achieve gold status. Although I hit it, I just hit gold status, which comes with a free carry-on bag, pick your own seat, boarding zone 1 indefinitely now. So I'm happy that I've achieved that level, but it shouldn't take 4 years with the amount of traveling that I do, because what they do is they kill your points at the end of the year. So you have to start from scratch again. So anyway, so it's good and bad. Shout out to them, because they do get me to a lot of places. But then also too, I want to, last but not least, share some flowers with the family. I get a nice opportunity to see Chris Maz and his beautiful family, my sister-in-law and my 2 nephews and our parents this coming weekend in Greenville. So excited about that.
That's great.
Very much looking forward to that too. But with that, Travis, again, really want to thank you for your time on this and for joining us.
Thank you, Travis.
Really
hour and a half.
Giving us a really big inside look at not only your upcoming work on the Sabres, but then just like your process of what went behind the Mafia versus the Multiverse book as well. I'm very interested in checking out that audiobook now that we've gotten to not only show a clip of it. I've obviously looked at it ahead of time too, but still just knowing like all the heart and like soul that you put into it yourself, and then you like being able to like reap the rewards of just people like giving you the praise for that. Absolutely should be given to you. It was an awesome achievement for what you did.
Yeah, happy to tell the story of our culture, because that's ultimately who deserves it, and I'm just lucky to hold up a mirror. And so I want to keep doing it. Hopefully people respond to the sequel so that I can just keep doing it and making the series extend into all the corners it should. So
yeah. Well, again, we're very much looking forward to that Sabres project on here. But to give yourself a plug too, for anybody that's looking to find Travis's future work, whether it be in written format or by film, Travis, give the folks viewing. We're at just over 600 live viewers right now, for where they can find your work.
So Pan Am Films is the hub for everything. So Pan is PAN, Am like America, and or you can just search Travis Carlson and it should come up. But that has everything, and 90% of it is free. So we also have some really cool merchandise that has really soft shirts. If you're looking to get any swagger that's not just your typical, stuff, a little bit more artsy or a little bit more on the edge for some reason. Yes, exactly. Pan Am Films. And so it's all there. And we've got everything from films to short films to, we did a Crazy Bills project to promote the book. We did like an action movie. It's like a one shot at Riverworks. I
remember seeing that. That was very well done. Yes.
Yeah. If nobody's seen that yet, that's fun, I think, as well. It's well worth the 3 minutes it takes to zip around. So, So that's me, and I really appreciate you guys for doing what you do, and also giving me the opportunity to just to talk and get to know you guys better and stuff. It's great.
It's our pleasure, man. We'll do it again sometime.
Yeah, could not agree more. But yeah, folks, don't forget, like I said when I was introducing Travis on here, definitely check out his film Mother's Day. Again, it's free to access. You can find it on YouTube if you search Mother's Day film, or search by Travis's name on there as well. Very poignant, and obviously like completely different as opposed to what the Multiverse books offer, but there's a reason why he won several awards for it. So do check it out. Great, like overall core message, and obviously it's very near and dear to Travis as well. But still, again, thank you so much, Travis. And next week, just to kind of give you all a little bit of teaser for that, very excited to be joined by a former NHL player. Recently just wrapped up his career in the AHL over in Russia. I had a very chance encounter for how I was able to meet this player. His name is Shane Prince. He's a Rochester native. I think he's in the process of moving across country just to get his family all situated after being in the KHL for so long. But he's a player with over 100 NHL games on his resume, including some playoff games. He played with the Ottawa Senators, the New York Islanders, and we're very much looking forward to having Shane on just to kind of give his just his thoughts on what it was like as a player, and very much more to it than that, especially just traveling across the world to play as well. But Shawnee V,
excited to hear about the KHL. That'll be interesting, I'm sure.
Yeah. Any parting thoughts, Shawnee V?
Nah, man. It's been a real pleasure. We got a lot of other guests we have lined up, probably 3 or 4 deep in the chamber. So a lot of great content, similar to Travis. Great people, great Buffalonians, Western New Yorkers, and elsewhere, bringing you that objective perspective on things. So that's why we do it.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. So thanks for that again, folks, for all of those tuning in across all platforms. We thank you very much, as always. But as we always say on our parting thoughts, let's go Buffalo.
Let's go Buffalo.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks, y'all. Appreciate you.